Welcome to Sib Spot. Today's featured Reddit stories are from Entitled People. Story 1 today is by That Guy 081. A true tale of office supply tyranny. I've been working at this marketing firm for about 3 years now, and for the most part, my colleagues are great. Except for Diane. Diane sits 3 cubicles down from me and has worked here for 15 years. She constantly reminds everyone of her seniority and acts like it entitles her to special treatment. But what's been driving me absolutely insane is her bizarre obsession with office supplies. Last Tuesday, I needed a stapler for an important client presentation. Mine had mysteriously disappeared from my desk the week before, already suspicious. So I walked over to the supply cabinet. Empty. Not a single stapler in sight, even though we'd just had a supply delivery the previous day. I asked around, and Madison from accounting mentioned she'd seen Diane carrying a box to her car during lunch. Curious, I casually strolled by Diane's cubicle later that afternoon, and what I saw stopped me in my tracks. Behind her desk, partially hidden by a filing cabinet, was a mountain of office supplies. I'm talking at least 6 staplers, dozens of notebooks, countless pens, and even 3 of the new wireless mice that IT had been saying were back-ordered when I requested one last month. The next morning, I discreetly mentioned to our office manager, Jen, that I couldn't find any staplers. She sighed deeply and said, "Let me guess, you need other supplies too?" When I nodded, she lowered her voice and said, "This happens every quarter. Diane takes everything and claims she needs backups for her important projects. I've ordered replacements, but they won't arrive until next week." Yesterday, things finally came to a head. I was printing materials for a client meeting when the printer displayed toner low. I went to grab a replacement cartridge, but of course, there were none. My meeting was in 30 minutes. Desperate, I walked to Diane's cubicle and politely asked if she might have an extra toner cartridge. She looked at me like I'd asked for her firstborn child. "Why would I have printer toner at my desk? That's ridiculous," she snapped. Just then, her phone rang. As she turned to answer it, her chair bumped into a tote bag under her desk, and I clearly saw 3 toner cartridges inside. I was fuming but kept my cool. After her call, I simply said, "Diane, I can see the toner cartridges in your bag. The entire office needs supplies to do their jobs, not just you." Her face turned bright red. "I've been here for 15 years. I need these supplies for my special projects. You newcomers don't understand how things work here." By this point, several colleagues had stopped to watch the commotion. Jen from office management appeared, took one look at Diane's hoard, and said firmly, "Diane, we've talked about this. Please return the supplies to the cabinet immediately." Diane huffed dramatically, muttering about ungrateful coworkers and no respect for seniority, as she reluctantly handed over 1 toner cartridge. Later that afternoon, an email went out from HR about a new supply checkout system being implemented, effective immediately. I also noticed the janitor installing a lock on the supply cabinet. The best part? This morning, I arrived to find Diane's cubicle completely empty with a small note from our manager saying she'd be working from home indefinitely. The supply cabinet is now fully stocked, and mysteriously, everyone's missing items have reappeared. Some people's entitlement truly knows no bounds. Diane was not in the right here, that's for sure. But if any of you work at an office supply place or a place that needs lots of printing done and lots of stapling done, you know that the people who manage your office will pinch pennies to try to buy as little as they can. So if she's worked there for 15 years, she knows that there's a tendency for the place to run out and not order more. I'm not justifying her actions, but I'm saying they could order a little bit more. But honestly, having a checkout system and putting a lock on it is a great idea, so they can keep track of who has things, and somebody like Diane can't just come in and take a bunch of stuff and then deny that they took it. It's a pretty good workaround. Honestly, though, I wonder why they would keep her even employed. She's going to be working from home indefinitely. I want to work from home. I would love to have a job that I could do from the comfort of my own home. That is not punishment. I feel like they should be docking her salary or maybe even firing her. It doesn't matter if she's been there 15 years. She's basically been stealing from the company. Our next story is by Minky Mink. Hey, I'm rich, but can I use your goats for free? I'm doing you a favor. I have a very small ranch in California. I used to own a brush clearing business using goats. I haven't done that in years, but I do still have 2 elderly mini goats. Yesterday I got an email from a friend I've known since high school. We're both in our 60s now. She lives overseas and also has a massive house in Malibu with a lot of land. She comes from a family with a known name that was one of the wealthiest in California. She inherited millions. She has never, for a minute, lived without. The email let me know that she was in town to deal with her Malibu house as her land was damaged by our recent fires. She asked if I could bring my goats over to munch on the brush on her land. I haven't heard from her in over a year. No talk of pay. No explanation. The email was written as though she was doing me a friendly favor and it would be no big deal for me to haul 2 goats over to her place, spend a few days overseeing them eating, hauling them back and forth at night, as a favor for free. I explained that my goats were old and that I didn't do that anymore. That the work involved with doing something like this was pretty extensive. No apologies were forthcoming. Instead, she was miffed and wanted to know if I knew anyone else who would do that for her. Undoubtedly for free. I told her I did not know anyone with goats. I do, but I'll be darned if I'm going to subject them to this entitled woman. She abruptly said, thanks, and that was it. No, let's get together, I'm in town. No, it would be nice to see you. Just let me use your goats for free. Why won't you do that for me? This same woman years ago descended on a mutual close friend who was dying. She insisted on staying at the dying friend's house, taking up all of the woman and her family's time, energy, and resources to the point she had to be asked to leave because she was imposing so much. At that time, I had to cancel my long-planned and paid-for trip to see my very close friend before she died because this woman drained all of their energy. My best friend died without seeing me because of this woman and her entitlement. At the funeral, only my dead friend's family were supposed to speak, but the Malibu woman had written a 3-page speech that she thought she was going to give because she considers herself family. When she got up and tried to head to the front of the church to speak, my dead friend's brother finally had enough. He stood up, grabbed this woman by the arm, and forcefully dragged her back to her seat. He was furious. I suppose it shouldn't be a surprise, but the sheer entitlement of some people who were born into money never fails to shock me. You have that 100% correct, OP. There's a lot of people who were born into money that think that they're just so important and they're so valuable as somebody's friend, even if they don't do anything for them and they don't spend any time with them and they don't talk to them. They think that just because they feel important, because they have all this money, that they are important. Unfortunate. But I am so glad that her brother stood up and dragged her back to her seat. Generally speaking, nobody wants to hear somebody talk that loves to hear themselves talk. That being said, I am surprised to hear that 2 goats can clear pretty much an entire field and they just eat and eat and eat. I know that goats kind of eat a lot of stuff and they eat tough things too, but I didn't think you could basically use them as a lawnmower. I don't spend a lot of time on farms, so I don't know what animals are capable of doing. Our last story today is a short one by KMermaid19. Come to this party and wait 3 hours. My husband's family was having a small birthday celebration for 14-year-old twins. The mom requested a book cake, and I spent about 20 hours making a 6-tier cake, despite it being the last week of school and me being a busy teacher. We arrived, and the mother said they had to take a twin to a dance tryout, and the rest of us would have to wait 3 hours. We sat there for 3 hours, and when they came back home and cut the cake, the other twin said, "Never use American buttercream again, it's too sweet." Edit. I stayed because it's my husband's family and I didn't want to make waves. Edit 2. The rest of the family just sat there, didn't want to make it a big deal. I will not be making a cake again or going over there again. Thanks for the support. Those of you calling me a doormat, sometimes you put up with things for the people you love because your marriage is more important than their stupid family. These people knew that there was going to be a dance tryout, because that's not something you discover or decide you're going to sign up like the day before. They knew they were going to have to take her to a dance tryout, and they set the time and date for it anyway. That is so crazy rude to your guests. Most gatherings for like birthday parties or even holidays only last about 3 hours to begin with, so it's crazy that they made you wait for 3 hours and then expected you probably to hang out for a couple more hours after that. I don't know, some families though spend 7-8 hours together at a time, but still, having to wait to start a party basically for 3 hours and then having your cake insulted is nuts. Also makes me wonder what country they're actually originally from, because how does this 14-year-old twin know that American buttercream is too sweet? Where is she from that she has it where it's not so sweet? And her complaints to me would fall on deaf ears because I love buttercream. Our stories for today have come to a close. If you enjoy this content, please click like or subscribe. You can also leave a comment down below. Until we meet again, have a quiet day.